Just then, the Tran family's backup started storming the restaurant. One of them thought, so that Thanon punk actually has his own reinforcements? We gotta move and support the young master, now. But as they charged in, a blast of fire shot out of nowhere. A voice boomed, this road is closed. Now get the hell out. Turns out, it was the fire breather. Tu Nguyen, holding off the Tran family's men. He didn't waste any time torching them on sight, but on the Tran family's side, they had their own ice user. With a single hand gesture, Tu Nguyen's flames were frozen solid. The ones who countered him were a pair of ice-powered twin sisters. To them, his fire was just a parlor trick. Just like that, an all-out war of ice and fire erupted. But Tu Nguyen refused to back down, using his flames to melt their ice. Then Anne watched, impressed. Finally, someone who can cool that hothead down. So, who's stronger, ice or fire? He never expected someone from Mook Lam Thu's organization would be a backstabber like that hacksaw guy. He'd have to be careful. Just as Thanan stepped out, another group of fully masked reinforcements rushed him. Still more of you? Fine. I'll take you all on. Meanwhile, on a nearby rooftop, Bach VV and a white-haired man were watching the whole thing unfold. I never thought that kid, Than An, would team up with the Dark Organization to take down the Tran family. This is getting interesting. But taking on 10 of the Tran's Tier 2 masters at once, isn't that a bit much for him? This is a good chance to see what he's really made of. Bach VV thought, Than An, what exactly is your relationship with that mysterious woman? Back with Mook Lam Thu, her opponent was powerless against her invisibility. He was on his knees, begging for his life. But then, crack, Lam Thu snapped his neck without a second thought. Thanon manifested his sword. So, you guys coming all at once, or one by one? A man in front pointed at him and yelled, so you've joined the Dark Organization. They're a wanted terrorist group. Kid, turn back now before it's too late. Thanon just scoffed. So you're saying I should join the Tran family? That's the righteous path? The kind of family that lets its kids use drugs for power? If this is black and white, I'd rather choose black. After he said that, the battle lines were drawn. The entire Tran family mob charged him at once. First up was a guy with wind powers. He unleashed a barrage of tornadoes right at Than An. It seemed Than An had never faced an attack like this before, and he was struggling to find a way to counter it. While he was on the ropes, another guy roared, his strength multiplying fivefold as he poured all his power into a single punch aimed at Than An. But Than An was no pushover. He channeled his own energy into his fist to meet it head-on. The two forces, one red and one yellow, slammed into each other, creating a massive explosion in the middle of the restaurant. The attacker was in total disbelief. No way. This is impossible. After fighting the young master, how can you still have this much power left? Suddenly, another enemy with a bizarre ability stepped up. She yelled, increase gravity. Instantly, the ground beneath Than An's feet crumbled and collapsed. He had no choice but to leap high into the air. But she just yelled again, gravity, times 5. The moment she spoke, Than An's body felt heavy as a mountain. He plummeted straight down, buried under tons of rubble. Seeing this from afar, Bach VV panicked, worried that Than An had finally been defeated. But the man beside her remained calm. Don't rush to conclusions, he said. Keep watching. The gravity user stood over the rubble, mocking him. Let's see you survive that. The kid's pretty tough. If we hadn't all ganged up on him, we probably would've lost. Thinking Than An was finished, their leader ordered, move out. We need to reinforce the young master. Tran Tu Luong. At that moment, the fire breather Tu Wen couldn't sense any trace of Than An's aura. What an unreliable punk. Did he really get taken out that easily? Just then, Mook Lam Thu appeared and ordered a full retreat. In a flash, Tu Nguyen, Haksa, and she were all gone. Meanwhile, Than An lay crushed beneath the rubble, his eyes shut tight. He silently chanted an incantation. First light, storming rain, gold, power surged into his sword. A moment later, the entire pile of rubble was blasted into the air by a massive surge of green energy. Then An leaped out from the wreckage and declared, I'm back, and better than ever. Then An's return made Vivi breathe a sigh of relief, while the retreating Dark Organization was stunned to see Than An return. Blacksnake asked, should we go back and help that guy? Lam Thu shook her head. No need. If he's showing his face, he's confident he can handle this. Perfect. Let him hold off the Tran Jia masters, while we go take care of Tran Long Hai. Once again, countless storms were summoned and hurled at Than An. The first time, he might have been surprised, but now this skill was no threat to him at all. Then An roared, star-slaying art, raging wind dance. Then Anne summoned a bigger, more powerful vortex, easily blowing their pathetic little tornado away. When the vortex passed, the guy who cast the spell had been swept away by his own attack. Seeing the situation was spiraling out of control, the gravity user tried his power again, aiming to slam Than An to the ground. But somehow, after using the skill, he was the one who ended up eating dirt. Seeing this, Hwan Ingok knew things were going south. He ordered everyone remaining to attack at once. We have to take this Than An down. And so, fire rockets, ice blasts, purple lightning, every element and skill flew straight at Than An. Facing this overwhelming assault from the Trangia mob, Than An showed no fear. In fact, he just grinned. Bring it on, all of you, come at me at once. Meanwhile, at the Trangia Manor, the sounds of fighting erupted, non-stop. Inside the main building, the Dark Organization had completely overpowered the Trangia's forces. They were all on their knees, begging for their lives. This bunch is just a bunch of nobodies. Lam Thu couldn't be bothered to kill them, so she just told them to get out. But as they reached the door, a sharp slash echoed out. All 4 heads were sliced off in a single stroke. The Trangia head, sword in hand, scoffed, "You're dogs of the Tran family. Yet you dare to betray us? A crime punishable by death. It's been a long time since I've had to get serious. Ever since the world changed, I've stayed in seclusion. But times are unpredictable. First, some clown named Than An pops up. And now there's an organization. The Dark Organization thinks they can mess with the Trangia. Fine. I'll make an example out of you lot. And as for those guys outside, don't worry, that Than and Punk will be joining you soon enough." Mook Lam Thu's face paled instantly. Oh no, this is bad. I can't believe it. He's a peak level 3. Awakened. The Trangia head, face cold as ice, raised his sword, and brought it down in a single slash. Whether Mook Lam Thu's group lived or died was unknown. Back at the battle by the restaurant, the Trangia goons were all seriously injured, sweating buckets as they stared at Than An. This guy's an absolute monster. Among them, one guy sneakily pulls out a gun, but it looks weird, definitely not a normal pistol. Bak Vivi recognized it instantly. It was an alloy gun forged from mutated materials. From the Trangia's Western Manor, it seems they've finally developed weapons to counter the awakened. The man beside Vivi said, "No way it's complete. They would have used it long ago otherwise. Let's just keep watching." A loud bang rang out as a bullet flew straight at Than An. But he just casually raised his sword and sliced the bullet clean in half. The shooter was stunned. He fired 3 more times, but Than An's blade deflected every single shot. Than An swung again, and this time, he sliced through both the gun and the man holding it, killing him on the spot. What's wrong? Is this really all the Trangia has? Or am I just too strong for you guys to handle? Hwan Ingok sneakily reached into his pocket for something. Than An, you're forcing my hand. Then, this guy, Hwan Ingok, threw out a strange purple powder. Than An didn't know what it was, but he carefully used his aura to create a protective barrier around himself. But the purple powder didn't just hit Than An. It also hit his own men from the Trangia. The moment the powder touched them, they started screaming, in agony. Seconds later, the entire group started moving strangely, just like a horde of zombies. Their condition was clearly unnatural. Just then, Future Than An appeared, saying, "So, that incident was caused by the Trangia clan all along. Than An, you have to stop these things at all costs. They've been zombified, and it's contagious. If this isn't contained, the plague will turn the entire city into a living hell all over again." Hearing the urgency in his future self's voice, Than An knew this was dead serious. There was no room for failure. By now, Bach, Vivi, and the white-haired man had also realized something was seriously wrong with the Trangia's men. Vivi was done watching from the sidelines. She leaped down and gave the order to the troops behind her. "All troops, move out. This isn't just some personal grudge anymore. The Trangia created a freaking bioweapon. These things are an enemy to all of humanity." Bai VV stood before everyone and commanded, "Everyone, on my order. We stop them at all costs." With that, Vivi was the first to charge, sending one of the mutated freaks flying. A single punch sent the guy soaring a dozen meters. Next, she lunged at a girl whose face was bulging with green and purple veins. With a crash, she slammed the woman to the ground. Seeing Vivi in action, the squad behind her started to relax. It seemed that even though these things looked terrifying, they'd lost all their intelligence and were easy to control. But that cockiness cost some of them dearly. While restraining the mutants, a few soldiers got careless and were bitten. In the blink of an eye, the mutation spread to the newly bitten victim, instantly transforming them into one of the monsters. Without a moment's hesitation, Thun An swung his sword and cut down the newly infected person. There's no cure for this plague yet. One slip up, and the whole city is toast. Stay sharp, everyone. Only then did they all grasp the sheer danger of the situation. Everyone went all out, no longer holding back. Bai VV was still a total badass, charging in alone and dropping mutants left and right with powerful blows. From the crowd, a real heavy hitter from Yin City appeared. It was the head of the Sir family, Sir Thien Ba. He warned, "These things are basically level 2 awakened. Even fatal physical blows won't keep them down for long. Fighting like this is getting us nowhere." Thun An finally understood. Of course, they weren't human anymore. That means physical attacks are useless. In that case, I can use times that asterisk. What Thun An had in mind was the fire control ability he'd absorbed back in Wanyuan village. With a single flick of his wrist, a massive inferno instantly engulfed the mutated horde. The sea of flames burned so hot, nothing was left but ash. Vivi's squad watched in utter shock. Holy crap, that kid has a fire ability? What kind of flame is that? It feels insanely powerful. Just how many damn abilities does this guy have? Bai VV, her clothes now singed, ran up and yelled at Thun An, "What the hell is wrong with your fire control? Were you trying to torch me too?" Thun An shot back. "VV, are you brain dead? That Sir Thien Ba guy just said physical attacks are useless. So, why'd you keep trying to punch them out? Why not use your gun?" And just like that, Thun An had the situation under control. Half an hour later, the mess was cleaned up, but the second it was over, Thun An was already turning to leave. Vi asked him where he was going. Obviously, Thun An was going to find the mastermind behind this, the head of the Trun family, and settle the score. Watching him go, Bai VV muttered, "Settle the score. Or go see your little girlfriend from the Dark Organization." A short while later, at the Trun family manor, night had begun to fall. Inside the main hall, Muklam Thu, Black Snake, and fire breather To Nguyen were all gravely wounded, struggling for breath on the floor. Standing over them was the Trun family head, completely unscathed. So this is all the Dark Organization amounts to. Pathetic. In your next life, try not to mess with my Trun family. You should learn some humility. With that, he swung his sword. It came slashing straight down at Muklam Thursday. At this point, she was too weak to even defend herself. It looked like this was the end for her. She wasn't ready to die, but it seemed Thun An wasn't about to let that happen. Appearing out of nowhere, he blocked the fatal blow, still finding time to complain. "Man, this Dark Organization is totally useless." Staring at Thun An, the family patriarch was stunned. "I can't believe it. You not only dealt with my minions, but you also blocked my attack so easily. You're full of surprises, Thun An. I've been watching you for a while now, and you just keep getting more interesting." Thun An shot back. "Oh? Been studying up on me? Have you? Planning to marry your daughter off to me? But last I checked, you only have a son. Oh wait, my mistake. Now you don't have any kids at all." You'd expect the patriarch to be furious, but instead, after hearing Thun An's words, he just burst out laughing. Such youthful arrogance. "If I had a daughter, I'd gladly marry her to you and let you join our family. A level 3, awakened at your age. I truly have no desire to be your enemy." This revelation left the Dark Organization members completely floored. Thun An was a level 3? They all thought he'd just barely scraped by to reach level 2. And it wasn't just them. Even the squad that came with Bai VV couldn't help but be completely shocked. It was just too hard to believe. Thun An sighed. "Damn, I was planning on playing weak for a little longer, but you just had to blow my cover." Suddenly, Patriarch Trun raised his sword and charged. "To be able to kill a prodigy like you, it would be an honor." Thun An just scoffed. "So confident just because you think you've figured me out? There's still a lot you don't know." Thun An instantly summoned a sword from thin air, easily parrying the Patriarch's strike. "You're not worthy of knowing my true power, you old geezer from the Chen family." Thun An taunted as he fought. "I despise scumbags like you who'd do anything, even use your own flesh and blood, to achieve your twisted goals." Every word Thun An spoke came with a devastating slash, forcing the Chen Patriarch to sweat bullets just to defend himself. After landing a hit on the Patriarch's arm, the skin peeled away, revealing a metal arm underneath. This made Thun An pause in surprise. He thought the guy was Marvel's Winter Soldier, but whether he was a super soldier or any other enemy, it didn't matter. Thun An would cut them all down. Each blow slammed the Chen patriarch's body straight into the wall. The power was so immense that the man couldn't block it, realizing he was no match for Than An. The Chen patriarch immediately smashed through the back wall and tried to escape. Than An scoffed, then hurled his sword with all his might towards the fleeing patriarch. The blade flew incredibly fast, but only landed right in front of the man. Suddenly, the patriarch grabbed Than An's weapon and laughed. "Are you an idiot, Than An, to just throw away your weapon like that?" Then an instantly appeared behind him and said, "Did you ever consider that my strength comes from my body, not my weapon?" Then, Thanan unleashed a single punch that instantly shattered the patriarch's entire cybernetic arm into fragments. Pushed into a corner, the Chen patriarch tremblingly pulled out a strange red pill. After swallowing it, his body erupted with a powerful life force, and the arm that Than An had just destroyed instantly regenerated. With blood-red eyes, the patriarch glared at Than An. "I didn't want to go down this path with you, but you're the one who forced my hand." The crowd outside could do nothing but cheer. A few of them shouted a warning to Than An. "Be careful, the old man is juicing." Before Than An stood a Chen patriarch, who was rampaging like a total psycho. Yet, Than An showed no fear. He was just another fool consumed by his own chaotic power. Before the patriarch could even make a move, Than An slammed him straight to the ground. "It doesn't matter how strong you are if you can't even control yourself. You're useless. The Chen family. And you. It all ends here." After saying this, Than An raised his foot and brought it down hard on the patriarch. The sight of Than An crushing the Chen patriarch's body with a single stomp left everyone there in utter shock. The glorious Chen family. It was just wiped out like that? Immediately after, a well-dressed man approached Than and introduced himself. "I am Xu Tianming, from Jicheng Pharmaceuticals. I was wondering if we could talk for a moment?" A group of onlookers immediately thought this Xu Tianming guy was full of himself. That guy just one-shotted. A third tier awakened. What could you possibly have to offer him? Then An didn't rush to agree and asked, "You want to talk? What do I have to talk about with you?" Just then, another major figure appeared behind Xu Tianming. This man was none other than the head of the Su family, Su Tianba, Su Yu's biological father. Then an immediately greeted Su Tianba respectfully. After all, he and Yu Hai were acquaintances, so he had to show some courtesy to this man from the Su family. Seeing Than An's polite demeanor, Su Tianba was delighted. With this, the Su family's rise to the #1 family in Yin City would no longer be a difficult task. Watching Than An's back as he walked away, the people Bai Weiwei had sent were quite dissatisfied. They had come to support and back up Than An, yet he didn't even bother to greet. Only Su Tianba. Did this mean he was going to support the Su family? Su Tianba watched Than An, also wondering if what they had just witnessed was the boy's true strength. Regardless, in the future, he would undoubtedly become a supreme powerhouse in Yin City. The members of the Dark Organization were now trailing behind Than An like lost ducklings. Than An turned his head and asked, "What is it? You want to thank me? We're partners, so it's a given. Your organization helped me a lot, so me saving your lives means we're even." Mu Linchu blushed and replied, "No matter what, I still have to thank you for saving us. I'm someone who always repays their debts. In the future, if you need anything, just say the word." Hearing this, then An's expression suddenly turned serious. "So, you want to repay me for saving? You? In that case, join me." It turned out that the future Than An had told him that with the Chen family gone, the situation would become unstable. If he wanted to be safe, he had to establish his own faction, and fast. Black Snake was the first to speak up. "You're the one who saved my life. As long as you, Than An, can guarantee the Dark Organization won't hunt me down, I'll follow you." Su Yuan also replied, "Although we've had our issues, I still have things I need to take care of. I can't join you." Than An didn't force him, just gave a small warning. "Don't regret this later." As for Mu Lingqiu, Than An saw that she hadn't given her answer yet. It seemed the girl was still very hesitant. After a long moment, Lingqiu finally, "Model." Thu shot back an answer, "I really do want to work for you, but the Dark Organization isn't some revolving door. When the time comes, Shen An, will you have my back?" Shen An's answer was solid. "Damn right I will. I promise. You won't regret this decision." And just like that, 3 days passed. Lin Thu reported, "Young master, here are the Trangia branches assigned to you. All the paperwork is transferred. Take a look. Shen An couldn't care less about the Trangia's assets. Just handle this stuff however you want. If it's too much, have Wang Bao lend a hand. I'm going to check out the main Trangia estate. Later, watching Shen and just walk off, Mu Lin-thu fumed. However I want? What the hell does that mean? I'm his secretary, not his goddamn slave. What a damn slave driver. Meanwhile, Shen An arrived at the Trangia Manor and, just as expected, found a secret room underground. Future Shen An explained, I only found this by accident. I was tracking some sketchy spiritual energy fluctuations in this area. Based on what his future self said, it seems even he didn't know. What the hell was the Trangia family hiding? Flipping a switch, a massive ancient pillar was revealed. Future Shen An recognized it instantly. A sealing stone pillar. I can't believe the Trangia family had one of these. Sealing pillars are used to lock away natural spiritual energy. Break the seal, and you'll trigger a spiritual awakening, just like what you saw back on Mount Canlang. It could even cause a few earthquakes, and after that, a super dense pool of spiritual energy will appear. Shen An was stumped. If the Trangia had something this insane, why not let their own kids break the seal and use it to train? Future Shen An shot back, you're being naive. Breaking a seal on a pillar like this is no simple task. Plus, once it's open, all sorts of weird stuff will happen. And this is in the middle of the city. That's like inviting the wolf into your den. Staring at a treasure like this, Shen An couldn't just walk away. He asked his future self if there was any way around the problem. His future self reluctantly shook his head. Gotta let it go. The you of right now isn't strong enough to break this seal. And even if you were, you think you could handle all that power alone? Just go back to running the Royal Hotel. Hearing that, Shen An was disappointed, but his hands were tied. He couldn't force the issue. The moment he stepped outside, he bumped into Mu Lin-thu again. He had no idea what she was doing here. Mu Lin-thu gestured to the person next to her. Young master, this gentleman says he has a major business proposal for you, so I brought him over. Who could it be? Turns out it was that guy again, Tu Tien Min, from Chithon Pharmaceuticals. Shen An figured, since this guy tracked him down twice, it had to be important, so he cut right to the chase. Tu Tien Min explained. Our previous partner was the Trangia family, but now you're the one in charge. So, we're hoping you'll continue our partnership. After all, we're the main drug supplier for every hospital in Nganthan City. If our partnership ends, the consequences would be severe. Shen An caught the veiled threat in his tone and was not amused. Tu Tien Min quickly backpedaled. Boss Shen, don't get me wrong, we're not making threats. We just need to know your intentions, Boss Shen, so we can figure out our next steps. Shen An waved him off. If this is just business, take it up with my secretary. I've got more important things to do. Tu Tien Min didn't back down, handing Shen An a business card. Boss Shen, I'm sure we'll be seeing each other again. Shen An took the card reluctantly. Mu Lin-thu, show this guy the door. 10 minutes later, after the guest was gone, Shen An asked Lin-thu, what's your read on that guy? Lin-thu replied, I can tell he's an awakened too. Can't gauge his true depth though. What about you, young master? Shen An said, he's a peak stage, level 2 awakened. Lin-thu was shocked he was that powerful, almost at level 3. Shen An told Lin-thu to dig up all transaction records between the Trangia and that company for him to review. A while later, back at home, Shen An got a call from Lin Thursday, young master. Your hunch was dead on. The Trangia and that company were definitely cooking up illegal drugs. They handled production, while the Trangia handled distribution and the cover-up. Their facility is in a village called Bak Vu. I've already sent Black Snake to investigate on the quiet. You're not mad. I took the initiative, are you? Of course, Shen An wasn't mad. In fact, he praised her for a job well done. Now that we know where their den is, guess it's time for a visit. Right then, at the factory in Bak Vu village, a massive, world-shaking fire erupted. Black Snake witnessed the whole thing from nearby. He never expected those guys to move so fast. Amidst the chaos, Black Snake spotted a suspicious, cloaked figure. He was sure that guy started the fire. Black Snake moved to give chase, but the cloaked figure suddenly whipped around and attacked. Black Snake instantly reacted. He tried using poison on the masked man, but a single kick sent Black Snake flying. This guy's on par with Mu Lin-chu. I can't fight him head on. I'll have to stall for time. But the masked man wasn't interested in a long fight. He tried to bolt again. And just like before, Black Snake leaped in, feigning an attack to keep him engaged. Shen An and Mu Lin-chu rushed to the scene, arriving to find a massive fire. Shen An told Mu Lin-chu to stand guard. He was going in to scope out the situation. Shen An headed straight for the heart of the inferno. After activating his devouring gift, the fire itself began pouring into his body. In mere seconds, the raging inferno vanished completely, gone without a trace. Mu Linqiu was floored. What the hell just happened? Where did the fire go? Shen An reappeared, holding a strange, sky-blue substance he found inside. He knew he had to get it analyzed. He suspected it was a hard drug. Mu Linqiu said, "Black Snake's the expert. He'd know what it is." But there was no sign of Black Snake. Shen An immediately used his sensory powers to find his aura. He also sensed a second level awakened right next to him. Black Snake was in serious trouble. When they finally caught up, they found Black Snake unconscious on the roadside. His face was completely mangled. Shen An knelt to check his vitals. The injuries were severe, but not life-threatening. Black Snake struggled to open his eyes. "Young master, that masked bastard. He's too strong. I was no match for him. I failed the mission. Please, punish me as you see fit." But Shen An wasn't about to punish him. He told him to just focus on healing, then asked if he recognized the mysterious attacker. Black Snake shook his head. He was completely covered, impossible to identify, but I can confirm, he's insanely strong. He might not even be a second level awakened anymore. Suddenly, Black Snake saw Shen An raise a hand toward him and was terrified. He thought rest meant getting sent to the afterlife for good. Mu Linqiu didn't dare interfere. Unable to watch, she turned away, only to hear Black Snake let out a sigh of relief. "Whoa. That feels much better, young master." After the initial treatment, Shen An explained, "You can heal from these wounds, but with this kind of internal damage, recovery would take forever. I've transferred spiritual energy through your body to speed things up. It'll make you heal several times faster than normal." This act of kindness left Black Snake completely stunned. He remembered his days in the dark organization. Failure meant being punished to death. This was a whole different world. Not only was he spared, he was being healed. Shen An continued, "Black Snake, you're a powerful ability user. Anyone who can hurt you this badly can't be a nobody. Secretary Chu, I need you to monitor all of Jicheng Pharmaceuticals' activities. Pay special attention to Zitian Ming." Later, in a remote house, the mysterious man who attacked Black Snake was making his report. It turns out, the attacker was none other than the fire spitter, Su Yuan. He stood before a white-haired man, reporting the mission's completion. The white-haired man was displeased. Such a simple mission shouldn't have taken Su Yuan so long. Su Yuan explained he'd run into Black Snake. To keep his identity secret, he intentionally held back his fire powers. That's why it took so damn long. At the mention of Black Snake, the white-haired man let out a sneer. "I didn't expect we'd run into an old acquaintance so soon. You're dismissed. Go rest. It's not time for us to confront them openly yet." After Su Yuan left, the man pulled out a phone. He sent a text, and as soon as it was delivered, he incinerated the phone in his own hand. It literally exploded. He then left the safe house, torching the entire building on his way out. Elsewhere, the man named Zi Tianming received a text from a mysterious source, a sinister smile creeping across his face. 3 days flew by. Shen An was at the Royal Hotel, having a conversation with Bai Weiwei. "You seriously want to turn this place into a sanctuary for the awakened? Are you trying to build your own personal superpowered faction?" Shen An didn't deny it. "I know most of the awakened are still unstable right now. I just need the intel your people can provide. In return, I'll guarantee they follow the law and never abuse their powers to harm civilians." Wei Wei pushed back. "That's one thing to say, but actually doing it is a whole different story. Getting intel from the official authorities, not even the 3 great clans can manage that." Shen An wasn't fazed. "You can take this back to your boss, and while you're at it, I need you to investigate someone for me. I need you to take this to the lab and analyze it." As he spoke, Shen An handed over the blue powder he'd found at the fire scene. This could be an illicit drug. Hearing those words, Bai Weiwei shot to her feet. "Is it really an illicit drug? Where did you get this?" "From the Jicheng Pharmaceutical Factory. They used to be a partner of the Chen family. A fire broke out while I was investigating them, causing mass casualties. They must be trying to hide something. I found this there. I'll need you to use your government connections to keep the fire under wraps. We can't go public yet. Don't want to tip our hand." Wei Wei understood the gravity of the situation and agreed with Shen An. "I'll do everything I can to help. I'll take this for testing first, but anything else needs my superior's approval." As they were talking, they heard a loud argument from the lobby below. "What the hell is the meaning of this? Do you have any idea who I am?" Shen An looked down and saw a couple causing a scene at the Royal Hotel. "I'm a VIP here. Why can't I use the second floor?" Shen-an realized it wasn't a stranger, but an old acquaintance. Well, if it isn't my old classmate, he doesn't even know who his own father is, yet he's asking others. Shen-an looked like he was ready to cause some trouble. Wei Wei asked, "That guy seems to have connections. Need my people from the agency to step in?" Shen-an quickly waved off her kind offer. "It's just a small matter, not worth Captain Wei Wei's time. I'm not even afraid of the Chen family, so what's this punk gonna do? He was an old rival of mine back in school." "Oh, is that right?" Wei Wei guessed the girl with him was the girlfriend that Punk had stolen from Shen-an back in the day. "Fine then, handle it yourself." "Still salty about him stealing your girl, huh?" Wei Wei quipped, then left before Shen-an could even explain. Down in the lobby, a blonde guy finally lost his patience, shoved the receptionist, and stormed toward the second floor. Wang Bao appeared out of nowhere, catching the receptionist. "Let me handle these thugs for you." "Hey, you! Being a VIP doesn't give you the right to assault our staff." Without a word, the blonde guy threw a punch right at Wang Bao. Turns out, the guy was an awakened. A single punch sent a numbing shock through Wang Bao's entire arm. A kick followed, sending Wang Bao sprawling. "A mere commoner dares to lecture an awakened like me?" Suddenly, Shen-an stepped forward. "What's going on? This is my turf. My word is law here. You dare harm one of my men?" The receptionist rushed over to apologize, blaming herself for what happened. Seeing the receptionist call, Shen-an boss left his two old classmates completely floored. Could it be this entire royal hotel belongs to Shen-an? But the blonde guy remained defiant. "So what? You'd cross an awakened like me for some lowly servant?" "They were disturbing my peace. They got what they deserved." Wang Bao exploded. "You son of a bitch! How dare you talk to my boss like that?" The blonde fearlessly taunted him back. "What's the matter, kiddo? You really think your precious boss will stick up for a piece of trash like you? Or do you think I don't have the guts to cripple that arm of yours?" Suddenly, Shen-an grabbed Wang Bao's shoulder firmly. "Focus. I ask you, heaven grants us power equally, but the user decides its fate. One thought can create a saint, one desire, a demon. If I give you power, will you become a saint or a demon?" Wang Bao replied, "No matter the power, I, Wang Bao, will only ever be myself." Watching this, the blonde guy scoffed. "Are you guys preaching a sermon or something? That's not how you become awakened. Only the chosen can awaken." But in that instant, Wang Bao seemed to transform. A terrifying battle lust radiated from his eyes. "You say it's heaven's will? That heaven gave you power to do as you please? To see yourself as superior and everyone else as trash?" Seeing Wang Bao's sudden shift, the blonde started to look nervous. Wang Bao pressed on, his anger boiling over. "If I have power now, and you still call me trash, then what does that make you?" The angrier he got, the more he lost control. He started relentlessly pummeling the blonde guy's face. He beat the guy's face into a pulp and still didn't stop. Shen-an finally had to step in and restrain him. "That's enough. He's learned his lesson." In front of the crowd, Wang Bao looked like a true demon. But in front of Shen-an, he was like a docile kitten, bowing his head obediently. Suddenly, future Shen-an's voice spoke up. "Have you considered that using spirit energy to awaken a normal person's potential is a double-edged sword? Sure, there are no immediate effects, but it could damage Wang Bao's foundation down the line." Shen-an replied to his future self, "It's fine. He's one of my men now. I'll take full responsibility for supporting him." Suddenly, a voice came from behind Shen-an. "Interesting, young man. You also know how to unlock human potential?" "Mr. Shen-an, I believe this is our first official meeting, yes?" the man said, standing beside him. "The man with VV must be her boss." "Mr. Shen, my apologies for dropping in unannounced." The blonde girl next to him was incredibly arrogant. "He's just some nouveau riche punk. You don't need to be so polite." To answer Shen-an's question about the man, Vi introduced him. "That's Elder Chi, the head of the EQ organization. Elder Chi came all the way here himself. Shen-an, you should make your proposal to him directly." Hearing this, Shen-an didn't hold back and got straight to the point. "My side is hoping you can share some intel regarding." As he spoke, the blonde girl suddenly stared intently into Shen-an's eyes. Immediately after, Shen-an seemed to become a soulless puppet, just standing there, completely silent. Seeing this, VV demanded of the blonde, "What are you doing?" The blonde replied coldly, "I'm testing this guy's abilities. Let's see you dance." The moment she finished speaking, Shen-an, like a marionette, instantly started dancing like a clown. But then, Shen-an suddenly danced right up to the blonde and lifted her up high, then unceremoniously tossed her aside like an animal. He was clearly doing it on purpose. Shen-an made an excuse. "You told me to dance, so I danced with you. Didn't think you'd be as heavy as a sow. All right, cut the crap." and stop trying to mess with my mind. If your brain ends up scrambled, don't you dare blame me." The blonde girl scoffed. "Big words. If I hadn't given you a warning, you would have been under my spell already." He recalled this girl was Du Xingyue, a mental type awakened. Elder Qi stepped in to de-escalate. "All right, we're all acquaintances here. Let's keep this exchange civil. My subordinate doesn't know any better. Please don't hold it against her. Let's get back to the main issue. Please state your request clearly." Shen, and thought to himself, what a sly old fox. He lets his underling attack freely, then jumps in to play peacemaker when she fails. Looks like I'll have to be careful around this EQ organization. Out of respect for Elder Qi, I'll let it slide. In my opinion, there are too many awakened who aren't properly controlled. I want to help the government manage these people, so I'm hoping to receive intelligence from you, like a list. The blonde cut in again. Simply put, you want intel. What do you have? To trade? Don't give us that righteous hero crap. Shan'an retorted. Your name is Du Xingyu, right? From what I know, you were just an ordinary psychologist before. After the earthquake, you must have realized you had the power to hypnotize and control others. After a lot of practice, you could easily make others fall into illusions. But what if I told you that kind of power is the most basic, crude form there is? Would you believe me? The blonde, hearing all her information laid bare, grew even more furious. If you're capable of digging up so much dirt on me, then why do you even need to rely on the Intelligence Bureau? Elder Qi added, it seems you have a considerable understanding of awakened abilities. We can cooperate. The Bureau will be able to share information with you in the future. However, right now, there's a matter that requires Mr. Shen's assistance. The 4 great families are now only 3. As for the Chen family, we've investigated them, and they were indeed trafficking illicit drugs and developing plagues with a pharmaceutical company. Shen An immediately understood what Elder Qi was implying. You want me to investigate the remaining 3 great families? You overestimate me. Mr. Shen, you are indeed very sharp. This task can only be entrusted to someone as capable as you. Don't worry, there's no fixed deadline, so you can take your time. Plus, we'll provide you with support. First, we have a little welcoming gift for you. As he spoke, Elder Qi handed Shen'an a rolled-up map. I guarantee you're going to love this. Also, to show our sincerity, we will assign an assistant to support you, and that person is none other than Captain Bai V. From now on, she will follow you to assist in your work. Hearing this, Shen An was delighted. Does that mean from now on, Bai V will have to follow all my orders unconditionally? Vi's face turned red with anger. Don't even think about making unreasonable demands. There's no way I'd dollaring. Listen to you, Elder Qi said. That's something for you to discuss with Vivi. If she's willing, then of course she'll listen to you. The 2 men ignored Vi's protests and sealed the deal themselves. Time flew by, and soon it was the next day. Shen An and Bai Vivi followed the map from Elder Qi into a forest. Assistant Vivi, according to the map. This should be the place, right? Vi snapped. Who's your assistant? Call me that again, and I'll deal with you first. Stop messing around. About Du Xingyue, how did you know so much? Even as her colleague, I don't know as much as you do. Hearing Vi's question, Shen An put on a mysterious act, beckoning her closer to whisper. Then, he yelled, at the top of his lungs, I was hiding under her bed. That's how I know all her secrets. As soon as he said it, Shen and laughed like a maniac and dashed forward. Vivi was absolutely fuming, growling with rage. Shen'an, you are so dead. After she caught up to him, Vivi still had a murderous look on her face. Try running again. I'll show you how to spell death. But just then, Shen'an spotted a strange tentacle launching a sneak attack on them. He immediately shoving Vivi out of the way, but his arm gets pinned down by that bizarre tentacle. And it wasn't just one. A whole swarm of them were flying right at them. But even though they looked weird, their attack power was pretty low. They had no effect on Thun An at all. As for Vivi, she had awakened her iron skin ability, so these plant-like things couldn't do a thing to her either. Hearing that, Thun An backed off to a corner, leaving these weird-ass tentacles for Vi to deal with. After about 10 minutes, Vi managed to wipe them all out, though it took some effort. But when she turned around, she saw Thun An standing there like a zombie, blood gushing from his nose. Only then did Vivi notice. She'd been so focused on fighting the tentacles that she hadn't realized her clothes had been completely torn to shreds, exposing her entire body to him. No wonder the poor. A guy had a nosebleed. A moment later, a fresh handprint appeared on Thun An's cheek. It was obviously an accident. So why'd he get slapped like he did it on purpose? Vivi had no choice but to borrow Thunan's jacket to cover up, but it wasn't nearly big enough to wrap around her body. Hearing that, Thunan was about to take off the pants he was wearing for her. What a world-class pervert. Before leaving, Thunan carefully used his devour ability, absorbing all the strange tentacles into his body to study later. It seemed the location they were looking for on the map was the garden right in front of them. The fruit on that tree looked just like the one Nakai had before. If one fruit can awaken a person's powers, this amount could create an entire army of superhumans. This gift from Old Man Tay was just insane. Vivi understood Tay's plan now. He wanted Thunan to become a new power to counterbalance the other three great families. But with an investment this big, how could their EQ organization possibly control Thunan anymore? This move was a double-edged sword. Just then, they both heard a noise from behind. They turned around to see a pack of mutated wild wolves slowly approaching. And it wasn't just the wolves. Thunan also spotted several mutated apes in the trees above. It seems the fruit here already has owners, and there were a whole lot of them claiming ownership. But facing this pack of wild beasts, Thunan and Vivi weren't the least bit worried. After all, they were just a bunch of wild animals. In front of a true powerhouse, they were nothing but insects. After a single palm strike from Thunan, the entire pack dropped dead on the spot. But Thunan quickly realized something was wrong. No sooner had he finished this pack off, another, stronger group arrived. Thunan immediately grabbed Vivi and made a run for it. That last group was probably just cannon fodder, controlled by a smarter beast from the shadows. But as luck would have it, while running away, they fell into a bottomless pit, plummeting endlessly. After falling, for several dozen seconds, they both made a pretty rough landing. Vivi's entire body slammed down on top of Thunan, but he was probably too dazed to feel anything anymore. It felt like an elephant was sitting on his stomach. Suddenly, Thunan stood up and pulled Vivi into his arms. Don't make a sound. Didn't you once say you hated things with lots of legs? Turns out, right in front of them were tons of mutated centipedes. Their bodies were as massive as a human's. Not seeing them was one thing, but the sight of them scared Vivi witless, making her jump straight onto Thunan and scream. Looks like this place isn't safe. Thunan slung Vivi over his shoulder and ran to another spot. Vivi let out a long sigh. Looks like we didn't check our horoscopes today. First my clothes get shredded, now I fall into a pit and run into a swarm of mutated centipedes. Thunan just mumbled, not really. Any stupid reason is a valid reason. Thunan moved while scanning his surroundings. The gravity here seemed to be several times stronger than outside. Was it because of that mutated fruit, or was it the ability of some creature? Thunan tried to ask his future self, but got no reply. That guy specializes in sleeping during critical moments. Luckily, those giant centipedes had no intention of chasing them. Now, they had to figure out how to climb back up. Just as he finished that thought, Thunan encountered another swarm of centipedes, but this group seemed a bit smaller than the last one. Thunan waved his hand, and a giant flame immediately incinerated all of these massive centipedes. After the fire died down, Thunan was shocked at how fragrant the roasted centipede meat smelled. It actually looked worth a try. But Vivi said, Thunan, if you eat that, I will never speak to you again for the rest of my life. It seems she had a massive phobia of creatures, like centipedes. Thunan closed his eyes again, using his perception to find a path. He quickly found a place with wind, meaning there was a gap for air to flow to the outside. The two continued to move based on the path Thunan had just sensed. On the way, both of them felt like thousands of eyes were staring intently at them. Thunan used his perception to get a closer look. Turns out, they were right under a bat cave, teeming with thousands of red-eyed bats staring down at them. This freaked them out all over again, and they immediately booked it. After a while, they finally saw a light ahead. Looked like the exit was right there. Stepping into the light, they were greeted by a majestic, sprawling wilderness. But it was also completely alien. Van An even spotted a giant grasshopper that was half his size. Suddenly, Van An's future self spoke up. The demon realm? How'd you manage to find this place? Finally, getting a connection, Thunan shot back a question. Future me, what the hell is the demon realm? Simply put, the demon realm is what I call any region where humans have never set foot. As far as I know, these places are usually packed with rich resources, but they're also insanely dangerous. Then Anne turned to Vivi. This spot is near the marker. You think Old Tay knew about this place? Vivi shook her head. Probably not. He bought this map off some other awakened. According to that guy, the power he got came from eating a fruit he found here. Then Anne finally got it. So old T's gift was sending him here to be a guinea pig. Now I'm seriously questioning if teaming up with this EQ organization was a smart move. While they were talking, they had no idea a terrifying pair of eyes was watching them. The two of them kept running into more and more giant creatures. High above, a butterfly flew by, but it was the size of a military jet. And next to a tree, a squirrel towered over both of them. It was like they'd stumbled into some twisted wonderland. If they could live stream this, they'd definitely go viral on TikTok. Just then, a violent tremor shook the ground, knocking them off their feet. Turns out, they'd been standing on the back of a colossal turtle this whole time. The turtle had just gotten up, taken 2 steps, and then it recoiled in fear, pulling its head into its shell. The squirrel on the other side also bolted in terror. Looks like they were all scared of something. Before the two could figure out what was going on, a massive serpent appeared, right in front of them. This thing was clearly the reason all the other animals were running for their lives. The giant python hissed, then lunged with its enormous head, trying to take a bite out of Than An and Vi Vi. Even though this thing was massive, Than An wanted to test his own power and see how far he'd come. Seeing Than An about to charge in and grab the python's tail, future Than An immediately yelled for him to stop, but it was too late. The python whipped its tail, sending Than An flying. I warned you, didn't I? If you keep overestimating your power like this, you're gonna get yourself killed. A creature from the demon realm could kill you with a sneeze. Only now did Than An start to listen to his future self. It seemed this place really was dangerous. No place for his current self to be getting cocky. So, Than An and Vi Vi had no choice but to run for their lives from the giant python. As he ran, Than An asked his future self for a way out of this mess. Future Than An sighed. If you turn back to fight now, you're 100% dead. The only option right now is to haul ass and run. But even though running was the only feasible option, the size difference between them and the python was just too much. It could catch them just by stretching out. Then, and figured maybe they should head back to the cave to hide. The python sniffed them out behind a boulder. With one chomp, it blew the massive boulder to pieces. Out of options, Than An grabbed Vi Vi and bolted back to the cave they first fell into. Once inside, Than An immediately summoned tentacles and pieces of bark from within his body to seal the cave entrance. He had no idea if this would be enough to stop that snake. All he could do was pray it would work. After about 2 hours, Than An was still on high alert, watching. It looked like the python had finally given up the chase. Only then did they dare to relax and breathe a sigh of relief. Maybe because they'd been running non-stop since they got here. Vi Vi passed out from exhaustion. Than An had no choice but to carry her deeper inside, to rest. But returning to the cave this time, Than An noticed it was now filled with a strange green smoke. Looked like poison gas, super dangerous to breathe in. They moved to another part of the cave and lit a small fire to stay warm. It had been an exhausting day for both of them, so they seized the chance to get some sleep and recover. Just like that, they dreamily drifted off to sleep. Suddenly, Than An's eyes snapped open. Danger! That snake is here, the second he said it. The giant python smashed through the tentacle barricade and stormed into the cave. Faced with the ferocious beast, Than An was at a loss for what to do. Desperate, he unleashed his fire ability and shot it, straight at the python. After seeing the flame, the snake suddenly turned its head. It looked like it was scared of fire, but that was just wishful thinking on their part. The python was simply a little startled, and that was it. It charged straight through the flames, rushing in to attack. Than An summoned 2 guns from his inner body, handing one to Vi Vi. They both unloaded on the python, but its hide was too tough. Regular bullets couldn't even pierce its thick skin. Suddenly, future Than An's voice scolded him. You're a complete moron. What about the weapons the Chen clan made? Why aren't you using them? Damn, I can't believe I used to be this stupid. Regular guns don't work on mutated beasts. That snapped Than An back to reality. Right. The Chen clan's guns have that special material. He took out the gun made by the Chen clan and gave it to Vi Vi, telling her to use it on the python. Sure enough, with the special gun in play, the python wasn't so cocky anymore. It roared in agony. Seeing it turn to flee, Than An carefully aimed for the python's eye and fired. The python was wounded, losing an eye before scrambling out of the cave. Then An also noticed the python had dropped one of its fangs on the ground. This was some top-tier material. Then An used the fang, combined it with other mutated materials, and successfully forged a mutated dagger. After making it, Then An didn't hesitate to give the mutated dagger to Vi for her to use. By now, the poison mist from yesterday had also vanished. The two headed straight for the spot where they had fallen. Then Anne used his innate material to create a staircase for them to climb back up. After half an hour, they finally climbed back to their original position. Looking down, they realized the chasm was over 1,000 meters deep. The second they got a signal, then Anne's phone started blowing up. VV made a sarcastic remark. Well, Boss Than is a busy man. Girls are already lining up for you. Than, and checked his phone. Holy crap, it really is girls. Vi got even more pissed. Damn it, I was just guessing, and I was right. Who the hell is she, and why? Am I so mad? Then Anne had a whopping 12 missed calls from Mu Lam Thu, 6 from Vuong Bao, and 3 from Chu. Chu, why did they call so many times? Did something happen? The moment he called Mu Lam Thu back, she started yelling. Then Anne, where the hell have you been hiding? I've been calling all day and got nothing. Then Anne quickly explained. By V, and I were on a mission in a place with no signal. Mu Lam Thu sighed. Something's happened. Chu. She's been kidnapped. Mu. Lam Thu recounted how yesterday, Chu's father came to the hotel demanding to see him, but when he found out Thun An wasn't there, he seemed really dejected. It took a while before he shared the reason. Later that day, we got a call from the Kermit. Kidnappers. The problem is, they didn't mention any ransom. Vuong Bao took a few guys to track them down, but they've come up empty. Then in thought to himself, if it was Vuong Bao, he could probably handle normal thugs, maybe even a level 1, awakened. But level 2 or higher would be a real problem. But would people that powerful really be bothered doing stuff like this? Then Anne was also very worried, and started heading back to the hotel immediately. As soon as they got back, then Anne told Vi, go with Lam Thu and get changed. He was going to meet Chu's father to ask about the specific situation. Seeing Bai Vivi step out of the car looking like that, Mu Lam Thu couldn't help but curse inwardly. What kind of mission were they on to look like this? Definitely something shady. Captain Bai, what's your size? So, I can get you some clothes? Looks like you're a lot smaller than me, huh? Meanwhile, Chu's father was sitting in the hotel. He was a nervous wreck, unable to rest while Chu was still missing. Then Anne walked up to him and asked, Uncle Ha, what are the specifics? Please, tell me everything from the beginning. Seeing Then in return, Chu's father was overjoyed. It's like this. My daughter came back to the city after the holidays, and I came along to help. Who knew we'd get separated at the market? I only knew she'd been kidnapped when those guys called me. They ordered me to wait for instructions. If I call the cops, they'll kill Chu immediately. I remembered you had powers like an immortal, so I used Chu's phone to contact you but couldn't get through. I've asked all over the city, but no one knew where you were. Then Anne said, I only recently took over this hotel, so not many people know. How did you find your way here? Chu's father explained. It was pure chance. I was on a bus and overheard a conversation about the Chen family being defeated by a young man named Than An. Then I heard them say that Than An took over the Chen clan's business here, so I came to try my luck. Than An wondered if this was all a little too coincidental. The kidnappers didn't even mention ransom, so it looked like things weren't that simple. Just then, Mu Lam Thu walked in to report, Young master, Vuong Bao is back. However, before she could finish, Chu's father thought Chu was saved. Is Chu rescued? Is she back? Then Anne knew. Chu's father was extremely agitated, so he told him to go back and rest. Leave the rest of this to me. Lam Thu continued. However, Vuong Bao was carried back. He didn't return on his own. Then, and immediately rushed to check the situation. Vuong Bao? What the hell happened to him? With injuries this bad, why isn't he in an ER? One of his men reported to Than An. This morning, we got to the kidnapping site. Boss Bao went inside, but we didn't hear a thing for a long time. So we stormed in. We just found Boss Bao on the ground. He told us to bring him to you, young master, saying he had something urgent to report. Then Anne examined Vuong Bao. Broken bones in his arm, mostly internal injuries. He had a pulse, but it was dangerously weak. Luckily, it wasn't life-threatening. Vuong Bao whispered weakly to Than An, this kidnapping, it's not what it seems. When I got the kidnapper's call, I used the EQ organization's tracker to pinpoint their location. The enemy knew they were exposed, but they gladly confirmed the address. Since I didn't know what we were walking into, I left the guys outside. I went in alone. But the second I stepped inside, some mysterious figure ambushed me without saying a word. He beat me down, saying, this week, you're not Than An. Now run along and bring your master, Than An, to me. If he dares to hide, I'll kill the girl, Choo Choo. He was wearing a suit and glasses, and his voice had a Dai Trung Hai accent. Hearing this description, Lam Thu looked shocked. It seemed like she knew who he was talking about. Bok VV chimed in from behind. That's probably the head alchemist from the Song family. His name is Song Trung Ko. This Song Trung Ko guy is a pretty mysterious figure. According to our intel, besides being an alchemist, he's also one of the Song family's top assassins. He's never failed a mission and is ranked among the top 3 assassins in all of Ngan City. Mu Lam Thu scoffed. Looks like your intelligence bureau isn't so great after all. My dark organization knows he's also an expert mechanic. Then An had no idea what this assassin ranking was, so he asked Lam Thu, "What's his rank?" Lam Thu shook her head. "My ability is invisibility, but I'm not a fan of assassinations, so I've never been on the black kill list." Not to be outdone, Bok Vivi shot back. "Being a mechanic is just a job description. Does your precious dark organization know what ability he's awakened?" Lam Thu replied, "We once tried to recruit him. We had no beef with him, so we never did a deep dive. But I never figured he'd be into kidnapping young girls. What a shameless scumbag." This was clearly aimed at Than An, but he couldn't, for the life of him, figure out why. He'd never had any conflict with the Song family, yet they kidnapped Choo Choo and brutalized Vuong Bao. They were obviously trying to pick a fight with him. The Song family is a tough clan to handle. Being on their radar is a huge pain. If the Song family is willing to break the rules and drag civilians into awakened affairs, this is just the beginning of our problems. From what I've heard, this Song Trung Ko guy isn't just a gearhead. He has an uncanny ability to counter the powers of other awakened. You need to be extremely careful, then An said, cutting off the bickering between Bok, VV, and Lam Thursday. Both of you, go get some rest. I'll handle Choo Choo's situation myself this afternoon. Than An decided to head back to his training room. His body entered a state of meditation as his spirit entered his inner space. Inside, a forest of mutated fruit trees he'd absorbed last time had grown. His talent points were now at 95,000. He just needed another 5,000 talent points to unlock clairvoyance, but he was running out of time to train. Then An looked at the pile of fruit and wondered, wait, can I just eat these to absorb talent points? He'd never tried it before. Then An plucked a fruit and took a bite. Holy crap. A single bite gave him a whopping 15,000 talent points. He couldn't believe one fruit was worth so much. Then An immediately unlocked the clairvoyance skill for 100,000 talent points. Instantly, his clairvoyant heavenly eye was successfully activated. Then An's vision instantly became razor sharp, allowing him to see distant objects as if through a telescope. Then An wondered, what happens if I combine clairvoyance with my perception ability? The result was insane. Now, everything in his sight was crystal clear, no longer just a hazy outline. Before, his perception could only roughly sense a person's aura and shape up close. Now it was like seeing everything in perfect 3D. He glanced to his right and suddenly saw something absolutely jaw-dropping. So shocking it gave him a massive nosebleed. Not too far away, Mu Lam Thu was taking a shower. But she had a strange feeling, as if a pair of eyes was watching her from a distance. If Mu Lam Thu knew Than An had been watching her this entire time, she would probably skin him alive. Then An slapped himself to snap out of it. Choo Choo was in danger. This was no time to get distracted by a girl. By combining his perception and clairvoyance, he could now see through the entire layout of the hotel. However, the trade-off was an insane drain on his spiritual energy. Just a few moments of using it left his head spinning. 10 minutes later, just as Than An was about to head out to save Choo Choo, Bok VV showed up. She said she was coming with him. He thanked her, but said her position was too sensitive. She couldn't get involved in this operation. The EQC had to remain neutral with the Song family. Wei Wei was worried. Are you sure you can handle the Song family alone? But Lin Chu, leading a group from behind, shot back. Whoever said our young master was going in alone? It's about time we awakened ones showed what we're made of. Maybe seeing Mu Lin Chu again reminded the pervert Shen An of her shower scene, because his nose just started gushing blood. Seeing his nose bleed, Mu Lin Chu rushed over in concern, completely clueless that he was the peeping Tom from earlier. Lin Chu officially introduced the people behind her. These are the awakened members registered on the hotel's second floor. When they heard the young master needed help, they all volunteered. Among them, Bai Weiwei spotted a familiar face. This guy in the orange shirt was the one who sold a map to Old Qi. His name is Wang Bao. He became an awakened, so his brother sent him here. With free room and board, why the hell not join? I'm way more badass than my idiot brother. The only catch is, I eat a lot. He's the guy who awakened after eating that fruit. Seems like an interesting character, Shen An asked him. Wang Bao, just how strong are you, anyway? Come on, let me test you out. Wang Bao tried to dodge the offer, making it seem like he was scared of Shen An's power. Turns out, he was actually afraid of hurting Shen An, and getting kicked out, so Shen An had to tempt him with an offer he couldn't refuse. If you can beat me, I'll make you captain of the kitchen staff. The moment he heard kitchen, Wang Bao was all in. And with that, the showdown was on. Wang Bao charged, grabbed Shen An, and used all his might to wrestle him down. But no matter how hard he tried, Shen An didn't even flinch. Shen An even had to ask, "Are you even trying?" Hearing that, Wang Bao clenched everything, glutes, thighs, you name it, with veins popping everywhere. Only then did Shen An feel a little more pressure. But the result was the same. Wang Bao gave up. Shen An was just too overwhelming. How can I fight if I can't even make you move an inch? Shen An then asked him, besides super strength, you've got observation skills too, don't you? That's a damn useful ability. There was no way Shen An was letting a guy like this leave the hotel. Don't worry, stay here and eat your fill. I won't let you starve. In the end, Shen An decided to take only Wang Bao with him to rescue Zuzu. As they left, a worried Mulin Qiu called out, "Taking so few people is a bad idea." Shen argued that dealing with the Song family required caution. A larger group could just walk into a trap. He then turned to Bai Weiwei. Zuzu is just a civilian. If something happens to me, I need your EQC to intervene using its official authority. Their target might be me, but there's no guarantee they'll play by the rules. Of course, Bai Weiwei agreed, but she asked if Shen An wanted them to tail him for backup. To that question, Shen An gave no answer. He believed this was a matter for the awakened, to be handled the awakened way. Watching his back as he walked away, Bai Weiwei and Mulin Qiu could only pray for his safe return. Once he was near the rendezvous point, Shen An activated his clairvoyant eyes to scan the situation inside. That bastard, Song Zhongji, was as cautious as they come. He had ambush units posted everywhere. With a trap like this, no matter how many men they brought, they'd all be wiped out. The only problem was, Shen An still couldn't find Juju anywhere. Activating this ability for just a few seconds gave Shen An a splitting headache. From behind, Wang Bao thought he had an eye infection. "Boss, did you just catch an eye full of some dogs going at it?" Shen An could only curse the idiot. Shen An pulled out a piece of paper and marked it. "These spots are all crawling with lookouts. I need you to take them all out for me." Wang Bao was in awe of Shen An, shocked that he knew all the enemy's ambush locations in advance. Wang Bao geared up and stealthily crept toward the first ambush point Shen An had marked. Inside, a lookout dressed in all black held a pair of binoculars, wondering, is that Shen An punk really gonna show? He had no idea Wang Bao was right behind him, ready to bring down a massive wooden club. The only thing heard next was a series of loud times thwacks asterisk. Wang Bao took out every single one of the lookouts. Damn, the Song family really sent a lot of guys for this ambush. They were definitely well prepared. After knocking the guy out, Wang Bao propped him back up in his chair to avoid arousing suspicion. But just as he got the guy settled back in his seat, he heard a voice from behind. It was another member of their squad on patrol. He shined a flashlight toward the lookout and called out, "Number 3? Wang Bao knew he was in trouble. He had to figure out a way to trick this patrolman. He ducked behind the chair, grabbed the unconscious guy's arm, and gave a weak wave, pretending he'd just dozed off from exhaustion. The patrolman saw it. He didn't question it, just warned him not to let Old Man Song see, or he'd get his legs broken. Just then, Than appeared out of nowhere, behind the patrolling guard, knocking him out cold with a single blow. Then An asked Wang Bao, "What's the mission status?" Wang Bao reported that 2 guys in the control room and 4 at the corners of the stands had already been taken out, for a total of 6. However, it seemed they had some kind of special mechanism set up. There was a transparent, invisible wire connected from the control room that went all around the stands. This wire appeared to be linked to a hidden crossbow, aimed at the area below the stage. Not only that, but it was also connected to detonators in various spots throughout the stands. A trap on this scale could easily take out dozens of brown bears at once. Meanwhile, Thanan had been searching for Chu Chu, but couldn't find a single trace of her. "First, I'll go down there and grab that Song bastard's attention. Using clairvoyance drains too much energy, so I'm leaving the hostage rescue to you, Wang Bao." With the plan set, Than An jumped down into the arena and shouted, "Who? I was looking for me? I'm here. You might as well show yourself." A voice rang out in front of Than An. "Is that really Than An, or just some body double you sent running here?" Then An declared loudly, "I am Than An." I've never had any beef with the Song family, so why is this happening? You kidnapped Choo Choo just to lure me here, right? I've come, now let her go. The Song family member snorted. Then on, stop playing dumb. No beef? You're the one who wiped out the Chen family and took their resources. What's to guarantee you won't do the same to our Song family one day? Don't worry, she's in a very safe place right now. You should be more worried about yourself. Then Anne was furious. Are you Song family psychos that bored? The Chen family started it. With me first. This idiotic, self-destructive move by your Song family is no different from theirs. Now, release Choo Choo immediately, and I'll only kill you, leaving the Song family out of it. If anything happens to Choo Choo, your family will be the second to follow the Chen family to the grave. Tong Trung Ko laughed loudly. Then Anne, you really are arrogant. Did you ever wonder why? I deliberately lured you here? It's because I'm absolutely sure you can walk in, but you won't walk out. Right here, I want you torn to shreds. Fire. After Tong Trung Ko yelled the order, absolutely nothing happened. The silence dragged on, and he furiously cursed. Damn it, did those guys fall asleep? Then Ain smiled. Your men? You mean? I helped them take a little nap. A very deep one. Do you have any other cards up your sleeve? If not, it's my turn. As he spoke, Thanon charged at the old man. But despite his age, the guy was incredibly agile, dodging while dodgy, saying, striking first doesn't always win the day. The traps I've laid for you aren't that simple. I've calculated your every single move. Just then, a glass cage suddenly dropped from above, trapping Thanon. Inside. Immediately after, a purple poisonous gas began to seep in, forcing Thanon to cover his nose. This material, it's a pure composite, able to withstand the full power of a rank 3 awakened. This poison gas will also slowly seep in and kill you in the most excruciating way. Then Anne started to feel uneasy. If what this Song bastard said was true, even the Chen family's specially made weapon probably couldn't break this cage. All Thanon had left was the remnant of the great serpent's fang. He had to bet everything on it. Whether or not he could break this cage was all up to this fang. Seeing Thanon resist, the old man gloated. Don't waste your energy. Even a grenade couldn't break my composite. But after just one hit from Thanon, the cage began to show countless cracks. It wasn't as tough as the old man claimed. Once the cracks appeared, Thanon simply followed up with a punch, shattering it to pieces. Are you out of tricks now, Tong Trung Ko? Seeing that Anne could actually escape his cage, the old man was stunned. He had to admit, Anne was no joke. But then the guy pulled out a remote control. As Thanon lunged, another trap appeared above his head. This time, it was a fishing net. Thanon instantly drew the sword from his inner dimension, slicing the net to shreds. The blade of Anne's sword was now pressed right against Tong Trung Ko's throat. Let her go, or your head comes off. Tong Trung Ko was completely unafraid. You won't dare kill me. It's simple. If I die, that little girl won't survive the day. So, drop your weapon before things get worse. Then Anne was seething with rage. You want to die? I won't let you. I have a million ways to make you wish you were dead. Just then Anne's walkie-talkie crackled with Wang Bao's voice. Hello, young master? I've found her. She's in the VIP room on the adjacent stand. There were 2 guards, but I took them down. Then Anne pointed his sword back at Tong Trung Ko. Looks like your plan failed, but this guy was really something else. This guy's tough as nails, totally fearless. Then Anne, have your man check her out, see if anything's off. Wang Bao quickly checked her over and stammered. Young master. She has a time bomb strapped to her. I modified this bomb myself. One hard knock and it'll detonate instantly. If you want her safe, you need the password inside my head. But if you don't give a damn about Choo Choo's life, go ahead and take my head. At least I'll have a beauty to serve me in the afterlife. Then Anne was getting more and more pissed. He really just wanted to chop off Tong Trung Ko's damn head. Even with Anne choking him, the guy was still talking tough. You don't have much time. Only 3 minutes before that bomb goes off. With no other choice, Thanon had to play his game. Saving her was his top priority. Then Anne dragged Tong Trung Ko straight to where Choo Choo was being held, forcing him to disarm the bomb. But the guy started playing games. This old body of mine is full of problems. My mind's getting fuzzy. Can't remember a thing. Give me a second to recall the password. Then Anne was about to lose it with this bastard. I have no beef with your Tong family. Don't push things to the point of no return. If anything happens to her, I'll send your entire Tong family to hell to pay for it. Only then did Tong Trung Ko finally back down. He didn't want his whole family wiped out, so he had no choice but to give Than An the password. As soon as he got the code, Than An rushed inside to where Chu Chu was tied up and punched in the numbers Tong Trung Ko gave him. But to his horror, the bomb flashed an error. The timer instantly dropped from 2 minutes, down to just 1. At the same time, the door behind them suddenly slammed shut, locking Than An and Chu Chu inside. Vuong Bao, on the outside, couldn't react in time. In the blink of an eye, the door was sealed shut. Then An spoke to Vuong Bao over the comms, ordering him to grab Tong Trung Ko and torture the real password out of him. But when Vuong Bao turned around, he saw Tong Trung Ko had already slipped into a nearby secret room to escape. That bastard was as cunning as they come, and now, Than An was trapped in an impossible situation. The timer on the bomb kept ticking down, while he was locked inside with no idea what the password was. Chu Chu said sorrowfully to Than An, "I'm so happy you risked everything for me, but I know this thing is dangerous. I don't want you to get dragged into this." Than An asked her, "Are you scared?" Chu Chu replied through her tears, "Of course I am. I'm scared I'll never see my family again. Than An, you should leave now. You can still make it. If you live, please, take care of my parents for me, okay? If they ask, just tell them I went abroad to study." Then An immediately told Chu Chu, "Don't worry, I will definitely get you out of here." But even as he said it, Than An had no clue how. He tried calling out to his future self, hoping for a solution. But no matter how many times he called, future Than An didn't answer. Meanwhile, Tong Trung Ko had escaped and was reporting to a mysterious figure. "That Than An kid is a dead man. Maybe not yet, but in a few minutes, he'll be blown to bits. I have to admit though, that kid is cunning as hell. Not only did he disable many of the traps I set, but he has countless extraordinary tricks up his sleeve. If he's allowed to grow stronger, he'll become a massive threat. Luckily, I figured out his weakness early and used it to lead him into this death trap." The mysterious figure then asked Tong Trung Ko, "Are you absolutely sure he has no way out?" The Tran family thought the same thing. They underestimated Than An, and their entire clan was annihilated. Tong Trung Ko was dead certain. His personality won't let him escape alone. The more he tries, the faster the countdown goes. "By the way, with your skills, have you considered joining our Tong family?" The mysterious person scoffed. "Don't get the wrong idea. We're only working together because we have a common enemy. Now that the enemy is gone, we go back to the way things were." After saying that, the mysterious man left without another word. Tong Trung Ko, however, seemed quite impressed by the mysterious guy, despite his bizarre personality. Back inside, Than An could only curse his future self, always disappearing at the most critical moment. "You're completely useless." Thinking about the word disappear, an idea suddenly sparked in Than An's mind. If the bomb is the problem, then I just need to make the bomb disappear. By now, the countdown had less than 20 seconds left, and Chu Chu was getting more frantic. She urged Than An to leave quickly. "I don't want you to die because of me." Than An just smirked confidently. "Chu Chu, do you remember that magic trick I showed you before? I'm about to perform it for you one more time." Than An then unleashed his devour talent. In the blink of an eye, the bomb strapped tightly to Chu Chu simply vanished without a trace. Chu Chu, both shocked and a little annoyed, lightly punched Than An. "Do you have any idea how worried I was? If you could do that, why didn't you do it from the start?" But the most important thing was, they were both still alive. They had both narrowly escaped the jaws of death. Overjoyed, Chu Chu threw her arms around Than An in a tight hug. After dealing with the bomb, Than An used the serpent's fang to score the door, then shattered it with a single, powerful punch. The door swung open to Vuong Bao, crying his eyes out. "Boss, you died such a tragic death. I promised to burn tons of offerings for you." Shen An kicked the guy for jinxing him. "I'm not even dead yet, and you're already planning to burn offerings for me?" As soon as he left the room, Shen An saw his phone. 8 missed calls from Lin Chu, and 7 from Bai Weiwei. Shen An immediately called Mu Lin Chu to get an update. Mu Lin Chu was overjoyed to hear that Shen An was still alive. But back at the hotel, they were in serious trouble. The hotel was surrounded, and it was still unclear which faction was attacking. But they were all awakeners. Our guys were clashing with them, and both sides were taking heavy casualties. Their leader kept insisting that Shen An was dead, causing everyone's morale to plummet. Mu Lin Chu also asked if Shen An had managed to rescue Zhu. Zhu, who was right there, spoke up to confirm she was perfectly fine. Shen An told Lin Chu to just hold on a little longer. "I'm heading back to the hotel right now." Luckily, Shen An had anticipated that the group might target the hotel. That's why he'd left so many people behind, which is how they managed to hold out. But suddenly, Mu Lin Chu let out a scream. It seemed someone she never expected had shown up. At that moment, Song Jongji was watching the battle from afar through binoculars. The strange thing was, he'd been waiting for a while, but still hadn't heard a bomb go off. This was highly unusual. There was no way he could have miscalculated the detonation time. If so, only one other possibility remained. That kid, Shen An, had actually found a way to defuse the bomb. It's been years since I've met such a worthy opponent. Just then, Shen An and Zhu Zhu arrived back at the Royal Hotel by car. Sure enough, the place was swarming with people. So many cars were parked that it created a massive traffic jam. Outside the entrance, a few thugs were hurling Molotov cocktails into the hotel. They were spewing endless curses. Without hesitation, Shen An flung a hidden weapon right into one thug's hand, causing him to be torched by his own Molotov. But just as the flames erupted, a water-type awakener from the crowd immediately extinguished them. It looked like they brought a fair number of awakeners. Seeing Shen An take action, Wang Bao obviously couldn't just stand there. He lifted a nearby car and chucked it straight at the troublemakers. In response, a psychic-type awakener stepped forward, stopping the car with a single finger. Shen instantly recognized his spiritual energy fluctuations. Holy crap, he was a level 2 awakener. It seemed 90% certain these guys were sent by the Song family. Shen An immediately took a fighting stance and ordered Wang Bao, "I'll open a path. You stay behind and get Zhu Zhu safely into the hotel." Just then, Bai Weiwei appeared, gun in hand. This world may have changed, but the law still exists. Let me see who's causing trouble here. Seeing the police and military show up, the thugs knew their plan was a bust. One of them gave the order to retreat. And just like that, the Song family's men had no choice but to get in their cars and flee. They no longer dared to mess with the Royal Hotel. Bai Weiwei immediately rushed over to check on Shen An. They had received intel that Shen An had been killed, so they were extremely worried. Shen An didn't explain, just told everyone to get inside first. The group went inside to survey the scene. The main hall was littered with bodies on the floor, making it hard to tell friend from foe. Mulin Chu seemed to be perfectly fine. It turned out she had only screamed earlier because she was startled by the Molotov cocktails thrown from outside. Seeing that their friend Zhu Zhu had been rescued successfully made everyone incredibly happy. A security guard rushed in, out of breath, to report to Shen An, Boss, we have a VIP guest outside." Shen An went out to see who this important guest could be. It turned out to be the young lady of the Chu family, Yu Shi.